You're still watching New Dawn Otonjo on OGTV. We want to thank you for being part of the production this far. We have with us now the Special Advisor to the Ogun State Government on Millennium Development Goals, MDGs, the processes of actually attaining the goals as set by the United Nations by year 2015. That is our focus. And the person is no other than Mrs. Hafsat Abiola-Costello. How are you?
I'm fine,
Good
thank
to
you.
have you with us.
Thank you for inviting me.
It's nice having you.
Thank you.
Together with Mrs. Hafsat Abiola-Costello, we shall be taking a look at all of the strategies the Ogun State government has put in place towards ensuring that the attainment of these goals is actually something that is easily done, because by 2015, as said by the United Nations, all states of the world are expected to have actually attained all of these goals in the area of education, in the area of healthcare delivery, in the area of corruption reduction, in the area of poverty eradication and reduction, and all whatnot. And Mrs. Costello will be talking to us more on how the Ogun State government is actually pushing the process towards ensuring the attainment of these goals. Again, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Now, the Millennium Development Goal agenda of the United Nations has been on for a while, being driven mainly by the UN itself, but it has been domesticated in all countries of the world, and it is also coming down towards state and local governments as we have in Nigeria. You are the one that drives this initiative in Ogun State. What is the situation now?
Well, in Ogun State, we're doing very well. There are certain parts of the MDG program that I should probably give you a background to. The MDG program is different from many other initiatives that we hear about. You know, when they say government launches an initiative, sometimes there's no, what in government speak they'll call cash backing. There's no money to support these initiatives that have been launched. But the MDG program is actually already funded. It's funded from the debt relief gains that Nigeria got in 2005 from the Paris Club. And 75% of that debt relief gains goes to federal, and 25% is shared by states. The federal money is given to MDGs. So we have billions of dollars, not naira, billions of dollars that goes to MDG programs in the country. The money is housed in the MDG federal office in Abuja, and the MDG federal office in Abuja then sends money to states based on applications that the states will make to MDG federal. Ogun State in 2008 benefited from MDG federal money. We got about 820 million naira. And the condition that the federal always gives when they give us money is that we must match the money. So the Ogun State government at the time also matched the money from federal. I'm happy to tell you that this year, Ogun State will get about 686 million naira from MDG Federal, and it should come to us within the next few weeks. 300 million naira of this money from federal is going to go to 3 local governments in Ogun State, Ikene, Odeda, and Yewa North. And another 386 million will go directly to the state on behalf of the other local governments. So the areas of focus for MDG for this year is water, sanitation, health, education. There's also the possibility that later in the coming year we will add on agriculture, but for now it's these 4 areas. Tomorrow I'm going to go to Abuja, and Tuesday I'll be going to Abuja to deliver Ogun State's Memorandum of Understanding to the MDG Federal Office. This will mean that Ogun State was the first state to provide the state counterpart funding for MDG in Governor Amosun's administration. We were the first state to provide the state local government funding for MDGs, and we will be the first state to sign our MOU and give the MDG Federal bank guarantees. It just shows you really the commitment of His Excellency Senator Ibikunle Amosun to this issue of MDG. And he's committed because MDG goes to the poorest people in Nigeria. It goes to the poorest people in Ogun State. We're supposed to put healthcare facilities, sink boreholes, repair schools, build new schools, repair hospitals, build new hospitals. And we're not to do this where wealthy people live. No. MDG projects are to be done in areas where the poorest people in Ogun State live.
Okay.
And we get, MDG Federal sends us some technical staff
Okay.
who help us to do a survey of the state. So it's not me deciding where
What
the
the people
poorest
need.
people in Ogun State. No, we're going to use a very scientific method to assess where are our poorest people. And then the MDG Federal helps us train technical assistants who work in the local government areas to work with the local community, to work with the local government chairman, his whole government apparatus to determine what are their needs. So it's not from states that we're saying, let's sink a borehole here, and the people don't even want that borehole. No, it's from the people themselves. They will tell us that they want a borehole, and all we have to do is make sure that we release the money to ensure that they have it.
Now, a while ago, you spoke about some 3 local governments which we directly benefit from the over 600 million naira MDG funds that you talked
Yes.
about. Now, what informed the dedicated local governments? You said the state government will be having 300 something million naira to be utilized on behalf of other local governments. Well, does this suggest that those 3 local governments we've spoken of have specific challenges that would have to be fixed by themselves, or there are procedural efforts on ground to ensure that only this enjoy this first, much more later, the others enjoy that?
Yes, you see, to understand what is going on, you'll have to go back again in history. When MDG Federal started, they started with a few states. This year, MDG Federal is giving money to all states. Now, they also want to not just give money to states, they also want to give money to local governments. But they don't want to start with all 774 local governments that we have in Nigeria. They want to pilot the program, and they chose 117 programs and local government areas in the first year of piloting. Which means 3 local governments in each state, and then of course in Abuja as well. So in Ogun State, they came to Ogun State, they did a baseline study and identified the 9 poorest local governments that we have, and gave that list to Governor Daniel, because this was done during his own administration.
Okay.
And Governor Daniel was asked to choose 3, and he chose Odeda, Yewa North, and Ikene. Now, the plan is that by next year, depending on the success that we accomplish with the program now, we should scale up to even more local governments.
Okay.
This is very important because there's so many local governments. You know, the other day, the Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, Mr. Otumba Muyiwa Oladipo, was hosting all the local government chairmen in his office at the Secretariat, and I came to meet with them. And they were very clear about the needs and challenges that they face at their local government. So we know that it's not enough for us to help those 3. It's a good beginning, but we must do more. And to be frank with you, I was actually extremely disappointed by the amount of money that was allocated to Ogun State from MDG Federal. That 386 million that they allocated for the state, to me, is so insufficient to begin to address the needs of our people in Ogun State.
Now, how did that come about? Who was it that allocated? Was it that we made that request, or
No.
they just decided to have that disbursed to us, thinking that's all that we would need?
We requested 1.4 billion, actually. We made an application in 2010, so it was also during the administration of Governor Daniel that Ogun State put together an application and sent it to Federal. And as you know, Federal will now evaluate our application and score our application and compare it to applications from other states in Nigeria. Then they will look at the body of capital that they have, the body of money that they have, and then determine how much they can give to each state. So if they determine that, you see, what we have to be aware of is that of all the requests from all 36 states plus Abuja amounted to 87 billion naira. That's number 1. Number 2, MDG Federal for this year had 70 billion naira to spend.
Okay.
And then they were also scaling up to meet this 117 local governments. And in each of these local governments, they're going to give them 100 million naira. So the money that they could give to each state was not very much. They had 70 billion to spend. They had to give 100 million to each local government. And they were getting demands from all the states of the Federation plus Abuja of 87 billion. So it just was going to affect us. I wasn't happy, to be honest, and I'm hoping they've assured us that they see that the Ibikule administration is very dynamic. They see that we're focused. I mean, we're the first state to be meeting all the benchmarks for MDG work. So they are very clear that we mean to have an impact, and they've promised that in 2012 we should see significant support from them.
Now, is that the possibility, or is it part of the initiative to have dedicated desks in government agencies, ministries, and parastatals as far as MDG program is concerned? Because when you do not have domesticated understanding of the initiative itself, it becomes difficult even for the government agencies and parastatals that are to drive this initiative to have them driven effectively well.
So when you asked that question, did you already know about our plans? Because it sounds like, but I haven't talked to you about our plans before, so I'm surprised you know, because exactly what you're saying, our intention, and that's in my plan of action for 2012, is that we're going to put an MDG desk in at least the key MDAs, ministries, departments, and agencies. So we're going to establish an MDG desk in all of these key MDAs. Okay. We may not be able to do it in all the MDAs because of the cost implications. We want to make sure that the MDA desk and the MDG desk that we set up is properly equipped, and that the people that man those desks are well trained. So it has financial implications, and I might not be able to do all the MDAs this year. But we do plan to do the key ones, and I have the support of His Excellency. Then also, our whole administration is going to be guided by what we call our economic master plan, which the economic advisor has been leading the administration to develop. And the economic master plan essentially puts into words the plans of all our ministries, all our departments and agencies towards achieving the Millennium Development Goals. So it's not just the work of my own office, but it's the whole government will have a clear plan, which now we have it in the draft stage, and we're finalizing the plan as we speak. And it's going to guide the work of Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Culture and Tourism, all the different ministries that we have in our government, the Bureau of Lands, everybody will be on one page. And this is very powerful, because if we're all working towards achieving the MDGs in Ogun State and we have a good plan, then I don't see why we would not achieve it. With the support of MDG Federal, but also with our own efforts to raise investment for the state, all targeting the accomplishment of our plans, we should see significant progress.
Now, let me ask you this. I am aware, or I have information, that Ogun State was penalized by the MDG Federal for certain things. I do not know as far as the MDG issue is concerned. What happened to the MDG funds in Ogun State in 2008? What happened that we got penalized?
It was really unfortunate. What you have to understand about MDG money is that MDG money has the highest level of accountability. The whole point of that money, when the Paris Club was going to give Nigeria debt relief, they said that they would not give Nigeria this money if the money ends up in the pockets of a few corrupt people and transferred to Switzerland. No, they said they wanted to give the money for the poorest people in Nigeria. So it was a commitment. It was a condition of getting that relief that the money will be used for the poorest people in Nigeria, which is why the money is allocated for MDG work. So when we get this money from federal, we get it if we agree to meet certain conditions. And the condition is that we will pay a counterpart fund. We will match the federal money, and that all that money that we put together into a pot will be used for healthcare, it will be used for water, sanitation, things like this. What happened in 2008 is that the state government released 820 million into the state counterpart fund as the state counterpart fund, and federal also released 820 million, and then mysteriously the government at the time took out 610 million of that of our own 820 million, and we don't know why they took the money out. It was not used for MDG work. It was not used for MDG projects, and this now exacted a penalty from MDG Federal, because if we do that and we can't explain what we've done with the money, then we've violated the Memorandum of Understanding. And what the MDG Federal then did was to penalize Ogun State by refusing to give Ogun State any money in 2009. And the 2009 program extended to 2010. It meant that for 2 years, Ogun State could not count on securing hundreds of millions of naira of support. Now we're looking, but if we had even gotten 800 million in 2009, you can imagine what a difference we would have made in the lives of poor people in Ogun State. So it's deeply unfortunate. I want to assure you that the current administration is very clear about our responsibility. We know we're redeeming the good name of Ogun State and the people of Ogun State, and there's no intention whatsoever to in any way mismanage the money for MDGs. The money is for our poor people, and it's really going to be a curse on anybody that tries to mismanage that money. And I'm also happy to tell you that the House of Assembly is working very hard to discover exactly what happened to the 610 million naira that was misappropriated in 2008. And they're also working because there were some contractors that didn't do the projects they were supposed to do in these remote villages around Ogun State. The House of Assembly members have a committee that has been set up that are pursuing this matter. And the hearing that they held with those outstanding contractors so frightened those contractors that they've promised to go back to site. And we've been told by the local government that they're back on site doing the work. You know, the thing is this. Oftentimes, poor people don't have a voice. They're so poor and they're so far away. Nobody sees them. But if we do our jobs, if the local government works with the state government, if we work in the executive arm with our House of Assembly, we can be the voice for the poor people. We can make sure that services that have been paid for are delivered to them, that we don't have a situation where a borehole has been sunk and it's not producing any water. This has no value for our people. Or that we've given money for repairing of a hospital and the hospital has not been repaired. Or whatever it is that our people need, we must attempt to do it. You know, because it's only by doing all these things, by actual actions, not just words, that we're going to see decline in maternal mortality, increase in children going to school and staying in school, decrease in children dying before the age of 5, better environmental sustainability, and all the other factors that are making up the MDG. But most importantly, goal number 1, for which all the states of Nigeria are failing, which is the reduction of poverty. None of our states have been able to reduce poverty, and the only way to do this is by increasing productivity of our labor, providing jobs. This is the work we need to do. And I want to tell you that even though this is not the work of MDG Federal does not identify this in 2011 as one of the areas of priority. I think in 2012 they will. But even so, we in Ogun State are working very hard because we don't have to just depend on MDG Federal. There are many things that the MDG office can do to make sure that we increase the ability of our people to get work. On Wednesday, November 28th, the German Development Agency will visit Ogun State. I'll be hosting them. And they're looking at partnering with Ogun State to help us to increase the productivity of our labor, to get our people access to opportunities that will increase their income level. So it's really exciting, the things that we want to do, and I hope we can count on the media to let our people know. The thing I want you to let our people know is that what we're doing is not a privilege, it's not, oh, thank them. No, it's their right. And they should be involved, they should come and be asking us questions, they should know what opportunities we're trying to put together for them so they can benefit from them. I hope that they'll be very proactive in this way, not just sit down and wait for us. They should also come to us so we can work together.
Okay. We have been joined by the Special Advisor to the Ogun State Government on MDG program, Mrs. Hafsat Abiola-Costello. She's been speaking of all of the efforts of the government at ensuring that full advantage of the program is taken by Ogun State in the interest of the commonest of all the common people on the streets of Ogun State. She says that government would not leave the poorest in the land to their own fate. They will be supported via the office, via the MDG Abuja, and every other initiative at developing Ogun State and returning the state to its old glory. Now, Mrs. Hafsat Costello, another area we should be talking about is the level of synergy that should exist between the MDG office and the civil society in Ogun State. You cannot do it alone. Partnership is what is operational, obtainable, even in developed parts of the world as we speak today. how much of synergies is between you and the civil society with a view to effectively driving this?
I want to tell you that this is one area of my office that I've been doing poorly. Since I started my job at the end of July, I've been working very hard to re-establish the credibility of Ogun State with MDG Federal, which is why we're the first to do this, first to do that, first to do this, because, they have a bad impression of us from the past, but when we're the first and the first and the first, they start to look at us and say, this is a dynamic administration, these people are ready to work, let's support them. And that's what I've been focusing on. I think by the time I go to Abuja tomorrow to meet with the MDG Federal to turn in a memorandum of understanding for the local government program and also for the state program, to turn in our bank guarantees, and that will again be another set of firsts. That would release MDG Federal money to Ogun State, the 686 million that I mentioned. So then I can move to the next phase of my work, which is really that I have to begin to engage with the civil society groups in Ogun State. And here I would like to request support from members of civil society if they could write letters to my office, because I'm sure that maybe my background may not be very well known, but I was born and raised in Lagos, even though my family is an Ogun State family on both sides. And I've been coming here many times, but it's the CSOs in Lagos that I know better than the CSOs in Ogun State. Then also, more recently, I was living in China and living in Belgium, so I've not even been on ground. So this I say by way of apology for my level of ignorance. I'm working with the Ministry of Community Development and Associations to get a list of the names of cooperatives that we have and associations. But even so, please, if you could write to my office, it's as easy as writing to Hafsat Abiola-Costello, or even if you like, MDG office, Ogun State Secretariat, Okemoso, Abeokuta, and I will get the letter introducing you the organizations that you and what you're doing, because in 2012 we're going to be convening many fora where we're going to be inviting civil society organizations to hear about the many opportunities that we're putting in place for them to partner with the state. We want to do this in very much the same way that Lagos State did, where Lagos State was engaging in a systematic way with civil society in Lagos. As you said, these are problems that cannot be solved alone, and yet I do not want to solve them in a random way. It has to be systematic. We need to have a directory of our CSOs. We need to know their challenges. We need to be engaging them in all processes of our work, and it has to be a win-win. They should also be able to gain something from coming to give us advice and show us which ways we're going wrong. So, I came from civil society background because I founded KIND, so I have a deep affinity for civil society organizations, and I want to assure them that they'll have a friendly ear. We want to work with them. They should just let us know that they're there, and we will invite them to work with us.
Now, if I ask you, what are your immediate challenges as far as this job that is on your lap is concerned?
What are the biggest challenges? I think my biggest challenge is securing enough money for us to do the things we need to do. I just want us to have all the money we need. When you have a governor like Senator Ebikuli-Amosun, I have to tell you, his whole heart is just full for Ogun State. When we go out of state to once I went with him to Washington, D.C., and another time I went with him to Abuja to meet with the German Development Agency. And as soon as these meetings had concluded, his eyes are already back home. You can't even hold him and say, let's spend another 24 hours here. He just wants to be back in Ogun State. He has a deep love and commitment to Ogun State and its people, and he put together perhaps one of the strongest teams in the country serving a state. So we know what we need to be doing. All eyes are on the same goal. It's not even to transfer money out to do something funny. It's not even about that for us. It's really about serving our people. And the only break that we have to our commitment is just the amount of resources we can call to order to do things. But even that, I think, step by step, we will achieve what we need to achieve. The Chinese with whom I lived for many years, they have that saying that is very well known: a journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. When I lived in China, they don't say that. They say ibu ibu, which means step by step. And I want to let you know that we're going systematically, step by step, to put everything in place. And I do believe that people see our goodwill, they see our commitment, even the international agencies, and you will start to see that the benefits will accrue to our state.
Now, far beyond the MDG federal and that dedicated funding, does the initiative allow you to also access or exploit opportunities that are available with other international donor agencies?
Yes. So actually, the Germans that I said, in fact, if you have any time on your show, I would love for you to invite them to come round. They'll be visiting Ogun State between Wednesday, November 28th, and Friday, December 2nd. Is that correct? No, November 30th to December 2nd. They're really beyond wonderful. The German development, you must know, if you know anything about Europe, then you know that the German economy is the strongest economy in Europe. At this time, while the Europeans are facing the economic crisis that they're facing, all hope for really redeeming the economy in Europe lies on Germany. They have the highest labor productivity in Europe and perhaps one of the highest in the world. So they're such wonderful partners to have, and we're in competition with Oyo State and Kwara State, because the Germans are also considering those states.
Okay.
But already, in all the steps that Ogun State has been taking with them, Ogun State is in the lead in the process, and this meeting that they're coming to Ogun State for these 3-day meetings is the final step of what has been a long process. And they promise us that they're going to be helping to support our small, medium-scale enterprises. So they'll be meeting with those representatives when they come. They'll also attend a summit that has been convened by the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, which is looking at that, the opportunity we just secured with Bank of Industry of $1 billion loan. So we're going to be training artisans on the 1st of December. They'll be attending that meeting. They'll also be meeting with the Chamber of Commerce. They're having widespread meetings across our state. And my fingers are crossed that if they find us to be the most credible partner, which I really can't imagine why they would not, then, when they come, they'll first give us technical support. But my hope is that even later, we may have financial grants from them.
Okay.
And they will also, one thing they've promised is that when they've started supporting us, and they'll give all kinds of support. They can even take trainers and take them to Germany and train them in our vocational centers, all kinds of things. But after that, they will also bring other donors to Ogun State to help Ogun State. So they are one of our strategic people that we're working on. But believe me, we're working on many.
Okay.
So the trip to Abuja tomorrow is also because the Commissioner for Health also has secured additional funding for health, and he wanted me to come
be part of the delegation
for this meeting. Yes.
Okay. All right. I am aware that so much is being done by your office and by extension by the office of the governor, Senator Ibikunle Amosun, towards making life more meaningful for the people of the state. Your advocacy effort is not limited, I want to believe. You were at the Ogun State House of Assembly. How much of other advocacy work do you wish to embark on?
I'm going to be doing a lot of advocacy because there's so much work to be done. Yes, I was with the State House of Assembly, because when they hear of the huge sums of money that MDG office manages, they probably are concerned because of the culture in the country. They want to make sure that the money is not being stolen, not being diverted, nothing funny. And I felt really blessed to sit with them and to be questioned by them. It felt like I was making my report, and it's always nice to make your report and know that people are paying attention. So even when people want to come and meet me and say, oh, please, can you do something? Can you give us a contract or whatever? I say to them, look, I have to make a report to the governor. I have to make a report to the House of Assembly so that they can calm down because Nigerians, they always have this idea that, yes, there's corruption, but I still need to take care of my family. And really, I just want them to know that there's no way for them with the MDG money. So
okay,
there
all
will
right,
there will be other advocacy efforts as well, because I want to reach to the public, to our people, to let them know about the MDGs, how it's their own money, how it's their right to have the services, Because whether or not we have a good governor, now we have probably one of the best in the country. But even if we did not have such a good person, we should have a population of people who are able to hold their government accountable. And I want to be working to help the people understand that they have the power, they shouldn't relinquish the power, regardless of the administration.
Now, the ordinary person in the marketplace, the woman who sells on the roadside, possibly the one who, that artisan that is at Shakmo, that mechanic that is in, for instance, Ijebode, may not have the broader understanding of the MDG goals. What is your office doing towards ensuring that there is a proper domestication of the tenet and principles of the MDG program to these individuals who may not understand the kind of grammar you and I speak? Because every element within the system is as important as the most credible element within the same system as far as this program is concerned.
We will have to, in the 2012 budget, I have a request for some funds, and part of it is for communications.
Okay.
And of course, it will be in Yoruba, it will be in Ogun, it will be in the languages that our people speak here, to raise awareness about MDGs, about the different, sometimes it will be about MDGs in general, sometimes it will be about flooding and how to be careful, sometimes it will be about clean water, in the importance of washing your hands, sometimes it will be about other things connected to sanitation, other MDG goals, because we have 8 goals and there's so much to tell our people, but you can be assured that we understand the importance of communicating with our people. Another hidden weapon that we in our administration hope to be able to count on, and I know we can count on, is the First Lady of Ogun State, who is a very compassionate and lovely woman. And, she would be happy to speak to our people. And you know how our people respect that office of the First Lady. And to talk to them about the different elements. In fact, I was just with her in Osun State yesterday, and we were talking about this. And she said she's deeply passionate about education. The need to raise awareness among our people about the importance of education. Now we're in a situation where across the country, when you look at those NECO results that came out, we see that there's a state of emergency in education. There's really now a need to reorientate our people around the importance of education. And here's something that she would work very much on. There's also the fact that in the last week or 2 weeks, not even up to 2 weeks, where Miss Ogun State became the new Miss Nigeria. And this is an icon, somebody that many young people will also look towards. So we can call on her and ask her to make sure to help us to reach our people, to talk to our people in public outreach campaigns. There are also artists like the Banj that I want to call on. So my office is thinking about this. We're talking to public relations experts. But I think I was told that in the previous administration, people didn't really know what MDG was. Let me say that by 2015, Ogun State people will be the ones telling the whole country what MDG is and what Ogun State has accomplished. And my prayer is that Ogun State would not only have accomplished the MDG targets, but would have exceeded the targets.
On a final note, if I ask you to again talk to the people of Ogun State as far as the support for your office is concerned, what will be your charge?
The support I request from them.
Yes, please.
The support I request from them is to believe that we're there to support them. That as they're seeing their problems, they should let us know. I got a letter from Ilaro community, because we built a school, a hospital, but they need more than the hospital. They need a generator to power the hospital. They need other supplies, and they wrote us a letter. And I want you to know that I'm working on that letter today. I got it on Friday. So I want the people of Ogun State to be letting us know what the problems are. I don't really like to be praised. Like when technical assistants that I work with in MDGs, when they send me a text thanking me for something, I just ignore it. But when they send me a text telling me problems, you should see how I focus. I just love problems. I like people to tell me all the things that are not going okay so I can work. I just love working. So I hope that people will put me to work here so that I can really earn my salary and I can really serve the state, because Ogun State meant a lot to my father and to my mother. It means a lot to my family. It means a lot to me personally. And anything to support the state, to give back to the state makes me happy.
And I'm talking about making you work, making you be on your toes to be able to deliver the goods. If people need to get in touch with you, what are your details?
Okay. My email comes directly into my phone. It's Hafsat. Hafsat is not Hafsat, it's Hafsat with a H. Hafsat.Abiola-Costello. Costello is an Oyibo name, so you may not know how to spell it. It's Costello at ogunstate.gov.ng. My telephone number is 0803 307 0597. Now, because of the many meetings I go into, I tend not to like to get phone calls, but I love receiving texts. If you text me, I'll respond. Thank you.
All right, those are the words of assurance there from the special advisor to the Ogun State government on MDG programs, Mrs. Hafsat Abiola-Costello. She has actually said it that everything that has to be done towards ensuring that the MDG targets are met in Ogun State by 2015 will be done. Also saying that the people of Ogun State who hitherto may not know about the MDG program would be the one telling the entire world about the MDG program as it is in Ogun State by 2015. She says she likes to be put on her toes, she likes to work. So her contact details are already there for you. Just get in touch and give her the necessary support towards ensuring that Ogun State deliver the goods as far as the MDG program is concerned. We want to thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me.
And we wish you the very best in your endeavor.
And you too. Thank you.
Neil Don Otonjo continues. Thank you for watching.